Welcome back to the Middle Ages. Today we're going to talk about the Frankish kings, especially a guy named Charlemagne. Very important dude. But first we got to start with one of his ancestors, a king named Clovis. We talked about Clovis a bit last time. He was the first Frankish king to convert to Christianity. Under Clovis, the Frankish kingdom is going to control all of Gaul, modern-day France. Clovis is going to have a very important position in his government called the Major Domo. Means mayor of the palace. It's the individual who managed the king's household and was the real power behind the throne. So over the years, by like the 700s, let's say, the Major Domo, the mayor of the palace, has become the most important figure in the Frankish kingdom. The king, yeah, he's there, but he doesn't really do anything. And this really comes to the forefront when we talk about Charles Martel, who is Major Domo for the Frankish kingdom from 719 to 741. You might remember him as the guy who defeated the Muslims at the Battle of Tours in 732. Martel, whose name means the hammer, actually holds more power than the king at this point. Like, he's the guy that's making all the important decisions, he's the leader of the army, he's the most important figure in the entire kingdom. When Charles Martel dies, his son Pepin, known as Pepin the Short, becomes Major Domo in his place. Pepin is going to make a deal with the Pope. See, at the time, the Lombards, a Germanic tribe, were about to invade the city of Rome and sack the place for like the third or fourth time in a few centuries. And the Pope asks Pepin the Short for help, and Pepin agrees to help in exchange for being crowned by the Pope the King by the grace of God. So this is what we call the start of the Carolingian dynasty. It's going to be a dynasty that includes Charlemagne and his son and his grandsons. It's pretty important. So Pepin's son is Charlemagne, who becomes king in 771. He's going to do a lot. He's going to fight wars against the Muslims in Spain, against Germanic tribes in Central Europe. He's going to spread Christianity across Central Europe, especially France and Germany. And in the year 800, he's going to go and defend the city of Rome from an attack. And as thanks, the Pope is going to crown him Roman Emperor, making him the first Roman Emperor in a little over 300 years. So this is kind of a big deal. It's kind of a huge deal that Charlemagne is crowned the Roman Emperor. And it begins something called the Holy Roman Empire, which honestly is none of those things. It covers modern-day France, Western Germany, Northern Italy, and Austria. So, like, the city of Rome is not part of it. It's not a Roman Empire, but they're going to call it that. Charlemagne is going to do a lot to limit the power of his nobles. One of the ways he does this is he uses his own government agents to collect taxes and help him govern the empire and the provinces. It's a pretty big empire. Controls most of Central Europe. That's pretty powerful. But the big thing that Charlemagne's known for is his encouragement of learning. He's going to surround himself with scholars from Rome, from the Byzantine Empire, from wherever he can get them. He's going to order the monasteries in his kingdom to open up schools to train new people to learn how to read and write and make copies of books and things like that. And he's going to encourage the development of a bunch of new advances in written language, even though he himself could not write and probably couldn't read. I mean, if we're being honest with ourselves, a king in the 700s and 800s, their job is really more killing people and knowing who to kill and leading the army than it is, writing stuff down or reading things. But some of the major advancements made in written language under Charlemagne is like punctuation and word spacing, the use of lowercase letters, things that make reading a whole lot easier to do. Like, if you ever tried to read something where it's just all the words are run together and it's all in caps, it's very hard to do. When Charlemagne dies in 814, his son, Louis the Pious, becomes emperor. Louis is going to do pretty well, but when he dies, he has three sons. Kids named Lothar, Charles the Bald, and Louis the German. And Louis the Pious didn't really make it clear who was supposed to succeed him, who was supposed to become king after he died. And so you have all three of the sons fighting for control of the Carolingian Empire, the Holy Roman Empire. In 843, the three sons are going to sign something called the Treaty of Verdun, which divides the empire between them. Now, the downside of this is that it divides the power of the empire as well. No one kingdom is anywhere near as powerful as the three of them put together would have been. And so, as a result, the Carolingian dynasty is going to be weaker than it had been, and it's going to lose some of its territory over the years.